Horror Lies.
Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you. I'm your regular Wednesday evening host here at BodyBags. It is week 402, and it is our special label week. And this week, we return back to labels after a week of, I think the last month was 1996, if I remember right. And so we thought we'd do something really new here, and we would look at the label known as Eureka. I do believe they have some limited films here that you can find on regular Amazon, but usually you got to be region free and shop across the pond, as they say. But I decided, I know it's not horror, but I decided to, it's the first Eureka title. It's my only Eureka title. And I've been curious about this movie for a long time. And of course, it's Alfred Hitchcock's Lifeboat. Given the special treatment here on its Eureka release, this is a 1944 film. Of course, we're right in the middle of, we're heading towards the end here, the end of World War II. But when this movie was in the midst of being made, as well as Casablanca and a slew of others, a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions about how this war was going to shake out, and so this movie serves to be yet one more intriguing comment on the present situation that is globally with World War II and the war, of course, to absolutely tear down the Nazi government that was trying to lay claim to the entirety of the European continent. But anyways, so Lifeboat, interesting. It's got it's Hitchcock's first of his limited setting, which is really kind of like a contained film. You got 9 passengers ultimately in a lifeboat, as the title suggests. Their ship has been torpedoed by a Nazi U-boat, but in the exchange of fire, the U-boat sunk as well. And so the survivors, you got a collection of Tallulah Bankhead plays a sort of like a journalist. She's there taking as much footage as she can, writing on the war, which she sees. Really, the film really does, revolve around her as a central character. The German as well. Walter, I think it's Stezak, maybe, or Stezak. He is another major central character. Of course, Kovac, played by John Hodiak, whom I freaking love from Battleground. Freaking love Peter Wyman's film, I think. Pretty sure it's Peter Wyman. Freaking fantastic Ricardo Montalban. Just an awesome World War II, Battle of the Bulge piece. But Lifeboat, Lifeboat isn't that far out of the realm of some elements we frequently run into contained horror films. It is a lot of intrigue. It really delves deep into human nature, as well as commenting on the moment that we're in, World War II. But human nature really plays center stage here. And these survivors of this sunken vessel, they end up on this lifeboat. And but whom did they pull up over the side? A German who's from the sunken U-boat. Now, they presume he's the captain of the U-boat, but he kind of plays it off as though he's not. And so there's a real tug of war whether to even let him in the boat or not let him in the boat. But they ultimately, better angels prevail, and they let him on. Although, as we see over the course of the film, he will do some things that will basically betray his true motive. And so it's what makes this movie fascinating too is it is an Alfred Hitchcock movie, and the Eureka release here is fantastic. It's my first one, my only one. You got a great book inside. It's 2 discs, one's a DVD, one's a Blu-ray. It's got a great 22-minute documentary that really does cover a beautiful scope of just the A little bit of behind the scenes of the film, the making of the film, some humorous anecdotes, provided by numerous people, including his daughter, Hitchcock's daughter, and his granddaughter. And then just a lot of interesting behind sort of, Hitchcock, he only did one movie for 20th Century Fox, and it was this one. And the reason why he never did another one is, of course, that's Xanax company at the time, right? And the reason why he never does another one is because when the movie first got its initial release, the initial reviews and stuff were extremely positive, and the idea was this movie was going to go on to do some massive money making, right? But then suddenly there was a few critics who suddenly chimed in, and I don't know where on earth they got this take from, but they sort of played the idea that this was really serving more the German interest, and the main German at the center of this film really is one to be sympathized with, which nobody wanted to sympathize with the Nazis. And so, unfortunately, one or two major critics really lambasted it from that point of view, and enough to the point where the guy in charge of 20th Century Fox started to distance himself from the movie, pulled money out of the advertising, and the movie just started to sink. And it's really a shame, man. This movie is freaking fantastic. The cast is freaking out of this world. Tallulah Bankhead, who was a freaking star in her own right, coming in. A lot of stage work coming in. Again, this is a limited setting, so you're just on the boat, and it's on a set. There's no on-location shooting. It is on a set. And I'm telling you, man, it is freaking out of this world what they were able to freaking produce. Hitchcock storyboarded the entire film with specific directions to the cameraman that there was a different angle every storyboard to give it a sense that the camera was moving freely. And it really does help with you conveying this idea that you're out on the open ocean. And I'm telling you, there is never one time that I think to myself that I'm on a set. The control that is there in terms of the tank that they're in, the use of camera angles is just absolutely brilliant. Sometimes the boat would be in pieces to allow the camera more freedom with certain scenes. But a lot of what Hitchcock does in here, of course, this is the beginning of other movies, limited setting, like I think Dial M for Murder, Rope, the Rear Window, I think are a couple of the big ones. But he's going to go on to have a freaking stellar career. So as a result of the producer sort of falling to the demands of the critics and pulling himself back, Hitchcock never forgave him, and he never did do another 20th Century Fox movie. But I'm telling you, man, the short story as well is adapted from a novella by John Steinbeck, of course, Pulitzer award-winning author, The Grapes of Wrath of Mice and Men. And his story is interesting too, because he tried to enlist for the war, and the government would not let him because they deemed him a radical. And so he did the next best thing possible, which went against the grain of his family, which was to, I don't think it really was, but I mean, sell out in the sense to Hollywood and allow Hitchcock the ability to take his source material and create, I think, one freaking heck of a freaking movie. It is freaking, there is a little grueling moment there where an amputation has to take place, and how they handle that is freaking, man, I'm telling you, it is, if you're even a slightest fan of Hitchcock, man, this movie has got to be seen, man. It has got to be seen over and over. There's a few other shorts put on this. Bon Voyage is one, and these were done in between this movie and the next one that he's making. And they're French films. They're shorts, about 26, 31 minutes long, and they really do sort of pay tribute to the French resistance during World War II. And they are definitely worth watching too. And so, I mean, it's quite a package all in all. The book is pretty cool to flip through and to read. And really, Eureka, man, it's quite a nice little package. And no regrets. Lifeboat being the very, I'm trying to think if there's anything else, being the first one. Trying to think, I need to mention Canada Lee, man, as Joe Spencer in the film, man. He is just absolutely freaking marvelous to freaking watch in this movie, man. The entire cast is freaking stellar. And how they're able to just, I don't know, man. How do you do a movie that's like an hour and a half in a freaking lifeboat? Alfred Hitchcock figured it out, man. He figured it out, man. And so in week 402, it is Eureka week. I bring you a Alfred Hitchcock movie that you might have never seen, maybe never even heard of, but it is definitely worth checking out. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think I gave you pretty much a clear rundown. Two ships sink each other, survivors pull up a German, and then it's just a freaking unrelenting thriller, man, to the end in terms of just motives being just motives being understood, and then the reaction, just human nature and how we want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but then when we're pushed to certain lengths, what are we capable of doing? The Mist was good for that, but it's great when you see, and that was somewhat of a limit. I mean, I guess that was a limited setting film. It is a fantastic. I've watched just a few times in the last week, and it's just, man, without having a whole lot of Hitchcock filmography to really think about, this definitely is the top of the heap for me, man. I freaking love this movie, man. I freaking love it. So from 1944, one other thing I guess I'll just mention, it was nominated for Best Cinematography, which is out of this freaking world. Best Director, but it lost out to, of all things, I've already said it, Casablanca. So go figure. I do love that movie too, though. I really freaking love that movie. Lipo. And check out what else I did today. This will be going up on the wall really soon, as I get my shelving, which my shelves are done. I just got to get it from one location over here. I can start unloading the movie boxes and everything else, but look at that bad boy. Check this out. That is going up on the wall, man. That is definitely going up on the wall. So anyways, enjoy the rest of Eureka Week and each and every review that drops, and the rest of the month as it continues to unfold before us. As always, we end these things off with Go Bills.
This is not a dream.